Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, all the rest of it. Really, really good to see everybody today. I really hope that Geoff's problems will soon be solved. He's got earphone problems. So, anyway, have a word, Geoff.
Good evening, Brian. Good evening, everybody. Good to see you all.
Nice one. Well, tonight we're talking about healing and, well, whether it be Reiki healing or ordinary run-of-the-mill healing, to me they're exactly the same. I don't think anything has really got precedence in the two. I just love doing it. So really good.
I think what we should do, just to make things clear, is actually say what we mean when we say healing, because we do not actually heal. What we do is we send energy to the person, what persons we're working with, and it's the energy and themselves that do the healing. We are just the channel for the energy. So yep. Although we call ourselves healers, we in actual fact do not heal ourselves.
No, we're just channelers or drain pipes, as my grandmother used to call it.
It's the same as going to the doctor and saying, "Oh, I've got a sore throat," and he gives you a pill. He doesn't heal you; the pill does. You know.
That's it, exactly. But there's so many versions. Everybody, I feel personally, that everybody can heal. It's just really a matter of you having the confidence to do it. But,
well, it is. You know, I mean, one of the things I point out to people is, if you go into a hospital and you're not feeling well, what's one of the first things a nurse does? She puts her hand on your shoulder and talks. What she's doing is making that energy contact to allow the healing to start. And it's the same as you do with a kiddie. If a kiddie's crying, you pick him up.
You've gone again, Geoff. As Geoff said, it's very, very true. It's something that we cannot really control. It's not something that you can turn on and off. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. And the channel in itself comes down from above and goes through you. I had a person yesterday in dire straits, really, really needed to do healing, and he's quite famous, and he didn't know how to do healing. So I went through the fundamentals of it, and it worked out really, really well, even to the point of self-healing, which is, most people find very difficult, but it's very easy. You know, I said to him, you know, the way I do it personally is, if you get your two hands and you run one lot of fingers over the top of the other hand all the time, you will feel, even though they're not touching, you will feel that energy coming between the two. No matter which way round you go, whether it's one hand or the other hand, you feel that energy. Now, the more you get used to it, you can go, I can go for about 6-8 inches away and I can still feel it. You're building your own particular strength up. And this is what it's all about by doing it. Now, when people do healing, they have them laying on a bed or a sofa or whatever you want to call it, and they put their hands face down on the person. Normally, I keep mine sort of 2 or 3 inches away and gradually travel down until I feel a heat. When I feel a heat, I know that's where they have a problem. And from there, it's just a matter of spreading that healing across the whole body. Now, don't forget, it's not coming from you. It's being passed through you into the person. Now, if you want to try it out for yourself, if you put your two hands together, not touching, but if you put the two hands together, you'll feel tingling in all of your 10 fingers. Now, gradually, you'll feel that tingling travelling down your arms, Now, once they get to your elbows and they go up towards your shoulders, you know full well that you're passing that healing through to your body all the way down. And this is where it all starts from. It's back. Yeah, that's it. You know, it's. I think it's one of the most brilliant things going. And ever since I was saying, my nan taught me when I was 8 years old, and I've been doing it on and off ever since. I don't do it as much now as I used to, because I was in a church and the healing was there well, in fact, it was Wednesday evenings and halfway through Thursdays, and it was very intense. That's it. Honestly, you can, Laurie. It's so beautiful. I have sent healing. I mean, sending it across the world is easy as long as you can concentrate on the person that needs healing. Just exactly the same thing. You send that. I make mine, if I'm doing it sort of an overseas healing, I make it into a ball, and I imagine that ball is pink and blue, and I keep on sort of massaging it and making it bigger and bigger and bigger, and then I literally pass it out to someone else, wherever they may be. Now, I've done this at the moment, or the last couple of years. I've done one in New Zealand, and it's a young lady that lives just around the corner from me, and she went over there for a holiday. She was the place she went to stay, and she was there for 2 weeks. They'd got a really profound influenza bug going through, and she got it. As soon as she got there, she could feel her throat tightening up and all the rest. Anyway, the next day after I'd done the healing, she's come back through to me on Facebook, and she said, "Brian, you've done it, it's gone." And yet everybody else in the house had it, and there was quite a few, about 8 people in there. She was really thrilled, really thrilled, but she is a healer herself. Why she didn't do it herself, I don't know, but it turns out really well. Being a healer, I think she can accept it easier than most. Yeah, we're still not getting you, Geoff. Put a note on, just in case. That's strange then, my keyboard isn't working. Oh, good grief.
Seems like
I'm beginning to think so, Raven. I think there's a problem there somewhere. But,
can you hear me now?
yes. Can you hear me, Geoff?
Yeah.
That's great. I don't know why I can't even use my my keyboard. That's not working either. So, oh God, this is unreal. But anyway, as I was saying, you know, the healing effect in itself. I taught a guy last night how to do it, and he could really feel when he put his hands together like that. He could feel the tingles going right the way down his arms to his elbows and then across to his shoulders. And as he said, even though he's been in the spiritual field for many years, he said, "I've never known anything like it. It was just beyond belief." It's the belief that is 90% of the thing. You still there, Geoff?
Yep, I'm here.
That's good, lad. Yeah, you come in nice and loud then at the end. No, I've no idea what's going on. Something definitely is. Only I I tried to type you a message and couldn't even send that. So.
No, I must admit, the healing is what I love. It's my life. I enjoy doing healing work. I mean, it's not easy for me now with my back, but when I'm doing Reiki on people, I get a bit sore and stiff, but I still love doing it if I can. And I love teaching it as well.
It is. I think it's something really, really special. But don't forget, to me, healing is the foundation of spiritualism. My grandmother's parents came from Ireland, and they used to travel around in one of these caravans, with the horses pulling it, or horse as it was, the old the curved top type caravans. And because they used to call them, snake oil people, and all these different names they called them all over the world. But they were gypsies. They were, a lot of people call them decoys and fakers and all the rest of it. But they weren't. They knew healing, and healing was the thing that they were predominant at. And I think from there, that's where spiritualism first got its roots, from these countries. Oh, he's a good teacher. Have a word, Geoff.
It's my fan club clapping in the background. That's what it is. I've got to teach this weekend, I think. I'm not sure exactly when, but I've got 2 people interested in doing some classes, so that's going to be good. I think you're right. I do a lot of spiritual stuff. My first foray into spiritual world was to do Reiki, the Reiki session I did, and that opened me up to everything else. When you start working with energy, the rest of it just falls. So I went to doing tarot readings. I did angel card readings. I do rune readings. I do all sorts of stuff. A bit of shamanistic work, and it's all to do with working with the energy. And that's what.
That's it. It sort of blows everything else away, doesn't it?
It does. To me, it's a very good base to do Reiki, to get yourself into that spiritual field if that's what you're interested in doing.
A lot of people haven't got the, what can you say, intestinal fortitude or the guts to last out the time to learn. And this is 90% of the problem with people today. There's so many fakers and, I can do this, I can do that. But, to me, until you've learnt healing, you haven't got a clue. So, my thoughts.
I think the interesting thing is, I did the 3 levels to get to master level. I know with the traditional Reiki do 3A, but we don't do that. We combine it all into one. But I stayed at level 1 for like 2.5 years, and I was getting tremendous results. I was getting a lot of feedback from people I worked with, and it just it blew me away that you could do all this at level 1. You don't need to be to do is to be open to the energy and work with it, and that's what people forget.
It's allowing that energy to come through you, isn't it? It's simple.
Yes, yeah. And it's like anything. If you put your mind to it, you can do it.
Yeah, as I say, it's the time served. You've really got to believe in what you're doing and study it. It's the same as meditating. I've not known anybody at all that can get directly into meditation, and I've found 21 days of you really, really concentrating on what you're doing twice a day, even if it's only for 15 minutes. You will get down deep in meditation. Once you get there, then you're controlling your mind, and once you control your mind, then you can control anything.
Yep, that's true. So and I know there's lots of different healings. I've done Reiki using crystals, but they're all little add-ons. They're not. To me, they're not as important as the basic working with the energy. It's more about the mindset than it is the actual tools that you're using. I know people get hung up on tools because that's the way they were taught to do it, but I find that they're okay, and I use them occasionally, but it's not the same as doing it online even, when I just sit and focus on the person and send the energy to them. I don't need a tool for doing that. And nobody else does.
No, you don't want to worry about that, Laurie. Honestly, getting into your mind is no problem at all. And, once you do, you'd be surprised at the results. You were saying, Geoff, sorry?
So, yeah, I was just saying that, it's, I know there's healers that use crystals all the time. I think I saw a pranic healer, and they were working through crystals, but there's all sorts of different things going on. But to me, it's just, it's two things. You have to trust yourself, and your client has to trust you.
Yeah.
If those two things are in place, there's nothing you can't do, really.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. Bless you, dear. That was my good lady. Just having a quick brain clear out. No, it's but this is it, Laurie. Once you do quieten your mind, I reckon it's a lot harder for women, because women think, sort of 1,000 things a minute. But you still come down to the fact that if you keep doing it and concentrating on it and pushing or easing those things out of your mind as they come in, then you gradually get deeper and deeper and deeper. Now, eventually, after 21 days, you'll find that things do not come into your mind. And that then is when you've got control. And believe me, the difference is absolutely unreal.
Yeah, I didn't have that experience. I mean, I was like Laurie for a long time. I couldn't stop my brain chuntering away. And they put a tape on, I'd fall asleep halfway through it. Wake up and think, I missed it. And then suddenly one day, I just started to be able to meditate. I was able to go quite deep, and it's been amazing. But learning is good, for people who really want to learn. But some people can do it naturally. That's what I feel. It's a matter of getting them into the right frame of mind.
Yeah, you've only got to let it go so low. I mean, I can go to the depths, I say, when I can't feel my body. I've also found that isn't necessary. If I do a lot of remote viewing, and I can go halfway down and still do remote viewing perfectly well. In fact, with telepathy, I hardly go down at all. It's on the surface there all the time. So it's. But there again, I've been doing it for a long, long time, 40 odd years, doing meditation. The healing, as I say, 60 odd years of it. So, but there again, I say healing is my forte. That is the main thing. Don't use it much these days, I'll be honest, because I'm stuck indoors. Sorry?
Just from my perspective, which is, slightly different to yours, because I've never done the training that you've done for meditation. But when I was travelling around America here, I got sick, and I was due to do a six-hour drive that day. And it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up and I was as cruel as a dog. I had food poisoning, I think. But I went into myself. I went so deep inside myself that I couldn't feel my body, and I asked for healing at that point. 20 minutes later, I was fine. I kicked it, and I was on the road driving.
Yeah.
But I haven't done the training that you've had. So as I say, some people can do it naturally because they work with spirit and they understand what they're doing. But others have to learn the proper way, and that's what I was just trying to get across. You can both ways work.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to find out what your particular thing is. A lot of people said that they fall asleep while they do it. Well, great. In other words, you're tired. Now, if you try doing it too late in the evening, you're going to be tired because that's your natural time to sleep. I always do mine. To be honest, I'm normally awake between 5 and 6 in the morning. I'll come here and I'll sit and I'll do anything from sort of 15 minutes to 2 hours meditation. That is me. Everybody to their own. Some people can get away with doing 5 minutes meditation. But as I say, the healing thing is there all of the time. And if you want to send it to someone, even inadvertently, somebody who's, is sick, and you decide you want to send them healing, send it. Can't do any harm, but it could possibly do a lot of good. That's the way I've always worked it.
The other thing that we should explain is when you talk about sending healing, like we have healing circles on top when we're in there, all you have to do is just send out love, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You send out the love to the people that you want to heal.
Yeah. So I do it a different way. I actually build a pink and blue ball, and I make that ball bigger and bigger and bigger.
Other people who aren't trained, who just want to, anybody who's listening, who's got a sick family member or a friend, can actually sit and think about that person and send them love towards, and that is healing.
Yeah, definitely is. Remember, I went through
for people who aren't trained, just think about them and send nice thoughts to them. That's what we got to do.
Yeah.
And that will help.
Well, when I was a kid, I must have been sort of in the 11, 12, 13-year-old, I remember having dreams night after night of, there was a long row of houses, all typical London type, all detached, all attached, right the way down, just a complete series. And I could go into each one of the houses and do healing. And the difference in people, the reactions of people when you're doing healing. And I think that's what I learned a lot when I was a kid, because the reactions are always different. Some people, if they're fully accepting it, they're so pleased that it's been there and they can feel themselves getting better. Others who, not necessarily deniers, but they're more apathetic. They tend to, put it to one side and think, no, this is... You get the same sort of reaction from many, many, many people. Love is very powerful, Raven. Define love.
Yes, this is the spiritual love.
Yeah. We won't go down that track, my friend.
Yeah. But yeah, it's good, and as you say, anybody can learn it. It's not like it's difficult. I've taught dozens of people how to do Reiki, and those that have taken it to heart and worked with it have had very, very wonderful results. And it's good, it's not an ego thing.
No.
But if you do work on somebody and they come back and say, "Wow, I feel so much better now," it is a good feeling for you, and it's not about ego at all. It's about accepting that you've done a good job and you've got your thanks for it.
Yeah. Well, I got my best return when I was in the church. There was this friend of mine. She lives very close now. She came to the church. I didn't know her from a bar of soap, and I think there was about 16 people waiting for healing. Anyway, she climbed up on the couch, and I started doing the normal thing. I'd done her head first, and then gradually worked down her torso, and I got to her solar plexus, and I said, hang on. I said, what are you doing here? And I said, as I pushed down my hand, it felt as though there was like a spring underneath it, pushing it back up again. And it's the first time I've ever come across that. Anyway, when I told her, she just laughed and she said, I've been a healer all of my life. She said, and you're the first person that's ever picked it up. So I thought, well, if that isn't true feelings, and it's a sort of a reinforcement of the fact that you are doing the correct way. And as I say, we've been friends ever since. She comes around here and, we see her. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. As I say, feedback. And feedback to me is one of the most perfect things that there is.
Yeah.
Sorry, Geoff?
What I've done is, because I've done so much work, people that I know well, I ask them to write me a letter explaining what they felt and how it worked for them. And that means then I can talk about it. And if somebody says, oh, you know, how do I know that's true? Well, here's a letter that says it.
Yeah.
I don't like to people think I'm bullshitting, because if I say something, I've got backup proof.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to be able to people to understand that it's real. This is not fun. Well, it is fun, but it's not fun in that sense. This is serious stuff, and we are helping people, or trying to anyway.
Oh yeah, that is the whole idea of it. Mm. No, that is the whole idea of it, Geoff. You know, we're helping people, and well, so many.
Yep, I had one lady in Sydney in Australia when I was down in Albury, which is about 6 hours away, and I never met this lady. I talked to her a lot on the computer, and she went in for a tumour operation, and I worked with her. And she actually, after 24 hours, I rang the hospital and asked, how is she doing? Can you just tell me if she's okay? And they asked, are you Geoff? And I said, well, yes, I am. Why? And they were all amazed, because she'd had a major surgery that had to rebuild her bladder from scratch. And she had no painkillers. She didn't take any painkillers the whole time she was in hospital, because I was helping her.
Mm-hmm.
I just burst into tears. I mean, I was gobsmacked.
Yeah, it's
and
beautiful.
I was level 1 Reiki then. I wasn't a master or anything. This was just a level Reiki.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can do amazing things. Have all these, not do it, but you have amazing things happen that you're part of the process. And it really is good for you. You know?
But it's the intensity that you put into it, Geoff. You know, whether you're one or a master or anything else, it's, you know, I've known people that have got, in fact, I know one that's got Reiki Master certificate. She's been all through all of the things, paid out thousands of dollars to get it all. And to be quite honest, she hasn't got a clue, because she doesn't put herself into it, and there's no intensity in her words. So.
Yeah, I nearly got caught in that. I paid out large sums of money for my classes for level 1 and level 2. And then my teacher said to me, I want you to become a master, Geoff. And I said, oh, okay, what have I got to do? She said, it's $6,500 and I want 4 weeks of your time. And I just looked at her and laughed.
Go forth and multiply.
I had my wife with me. I said, I'm a working man. I get 4 weeks holiday a year, and you think my wife's going to let me come and spend it with you? I don't think so.
No, that's a little bit silly.
And it cost me $400, which is a lot easier. You know?
Yeah. Oh, it's, you know, as I say, some people just use it, don't they? You know, and that's up to them. They have to live with their gods.
Yeah, I find it very hard. I mean, I look around here where I live in Ohio, and they want like $350 for a class for Reiki. I do level 1 for $80. I do level 2 for $120. I do the masters for $150.
Yes,
I'm not in it to make money. That's not what it's about for me. You know, it's about putting the energy out there and getting. The more people who work with the energy, the better this world's going to be. You know, we get it out there, get people on the right track, you're doing the right things. You know, that's what it's about for me.
Yeah, it's quite. To be honest, it can be quite frustrating at times. I was talking to another chap who is very, very well known, and he was saying about how it upsets him that there are so many fakers around, you know, that they're just in it for the money and nothing else. And as I said to him, well, ours is not to judge, but I mean, you've got to draw a line somewhere, haven't you? Especially when you start being classified in the same as them, because naturally people generalise, you know, oh, you're just a load of bloody, you know, load of fakers and such.
Oh yeah, that's the trouble. We all get painted with the same brush, don't we?
We do, and that I think is, well, mind you, it's up to them, but as he said, he's got to try and accept them, and they live off of his reputation, if you get my drift, because he's good at what he does. People say, oh yes, well I can do that as well, because he's what's keeping it going. But as I say, it is just a matter of reputation. It's just a matter of believing and trusting yourself. That's all you can do. I don't get mixed up with many people at all, because the way we are, being retired, Paul and I are just home doing our thing. And we've got our close friends, people that come. To be honest, 9 times out of 10 we don't even discuss spiritualism or healing or anything else. It's just an everyday occurrence. But there are a few that we can really discuss things with. I think I prefer it that way, because I haven't got the stigma of people denying, load of crap, that sort of thing. But no, it's a shame. Never mind. As I say, healing is something really special. It always has been to me.
I think so. It's been my life. Well, saying my life ever since I've been into spirituality. I was a bit of a late starter, but when I got into it, it really changed my life completely.
Yeah. And I think my childhood, a strict childhood, and it was more a matter of I was on my own for sometimes days at a time, and you have to do something with your mind. So I think that's where most of my mind control stuff came in. I've got to stop doing this. I've got to make sure all that sort of forcefulness as a child, and it worked for me. I know that, and it's made me who I am today.
Yep, absolutely.
It's the same with a lot of people, though, Raven. The amount of people that are in spiritualism that did have a very rough childhood is beyond belief. But, as I say, all you can do is plod on a day-to-day basis, live what you've had. You know what the worst is, so all you can do is hope for the best.
And that's the that you do. One of the things that they teach, or in the class that I do, the teaching is that you don't do it for reward. In terms of, well, from my perspective anyway, I don't do it for big rewards, but more often than not, I get back more than I put out.
Yeah. Also, you've got to,
it's the way it works.
Yeah. Also, you've got to remember, Geoff, that you, like many others, have got a belly to fill. And you've got rent to pay or mortgage to pay. You've got to find that money from somewhere. So if you're charging, as you do, a very small amount for Reiki, that is just, to me, wonderful, because we've seen them over here. I mean, you wouldn't believe there's one woman that I know, and that was it must have been a year ago, maybe more. She went to learn how to do meditation, and up to that date, which she'd been in it for about 4 months then, she paid out nearly $6,000 for someone to teach her meditation. And I thought, Christ, are you being ripped off or what? But what can you say? She obviously found it interesting. She obviously met up with people there that, she got along with really well. And I think 9 times out of 10, that is exactly what it is. It's the company that they keep, and it's probably been around and have a cup of coffee and, donut afterwards and all that sort of thing. But I don't know, $6,000 for 4 months' work.
Honestly, Brian, perhaps a little in contrast to what you said. When I first started teaching this, I went mad. I'd teach anybody, and I taught on Paltalk, and I was charging them $10 for the manual that I produced and the certificate. And of the 50 people, 2 used it. Because people's minds, it's free, it's nothing.
Yeah.
So that's why I charge. Not so much to get my cost, but so that there's an exchange. And they feel that they've paid for what they've got, and it gives a value then to them. This is the mental mind we have to overcome. People have this mental attitude that if it's free, it's not worth anything.
That's very, very true. And if you charge cheaply, oh no, well, he can't be any good because he only charges this much. Whereas if you said charge 10 times the amount, I think, Christ, he must be good.
That's what you got to overcome, that mindset. So you've got to get a happy medium where they feel they're getting value for money, and they will then use what you give them.
Yeah. That's to say, the amount of people I've tried to teach meditation, and one woman, same thing. I mean, you said to her, look, you've got to keep doing this and doing it for at least 21 days. And after 2 days, you get through and say, well, how's it going? Oh, well, no, I just couldn't make it, and this has happened and that's happened, If you're really dedicated, you can do it. But she obviously wasn't. And then she comes back and says to me, oh, can you teach me how to do? Oh, no, not a lot, not in your life. No, it's a beautiful thing. It's just that it's up to you to do it. No one else can make you do it, so.
And the other thing is that this is a point that a lot of people never talk about. I have actually refused to teach people because I feel I wasn't comfortable that they would be able to go out and do what I want them to be able to do because of their situation and their energy they were putting out. And that's a difficult thing to handle. But you need to be aware of that, I feel. It's like that lady you just said, you know damn well she's not going to learn it properly because she's not that way. Yeah. So you have to be able to turn around and say, well, look, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I can't do this. Yeah. And it's very hard to do that when you're trying to teach healing to people.
Well, not only that, us being spiritualists, you're there to help everybody, and we know that. And consequently, when you refuse to teach someone, that goes against your own grain. I think it's wrong.
Well, I think it's a difficult line. I mean, I would give them healing every day. It doesn't bother me, I would help. But to let them loose on somebody else, for them to work on somebody else, that's the difficult bit, And you have to draw, I think, and I struggled with it for a long time, but. Eventually, I've only probably done it with one or two people in all the time I've been working, but it's something to be aware of,
Yeah. No, it's you've got to really put some thought into that one, Geoff, because I can see so many sort of logs in the road, and you think, I'm not going to trip up on that,
That's for bloody sure.
Yeah.
It was a long, deep thought process before I decided to say no. But
that's it, yeah.
Not everybody is cut out to be a healer. We all have to. No. You can't. Not everybody can do everything.
That's very true. I think it comes to the point in the end where it's also self-belief. That is what I found in most of it. I know I can do this. I mean, Laurie just put on a comment, I never thought in a million years I could do what I do. Sometimes it's hard to believe. And then I think, of course you can, you dummy. That's, honestly, Laurie, every one of us, sweetheart, every one of us has thought exactly that, almost to the word. And then, because after a while you get so used to doing it, but I've heard some of your readings that you do, Laurie, and they are brilliant. So I wouldn't even think to yourself that you can't. I know if you have a short time out of it, you tend to, back off a little bit, but no, you can do anything, sweetheart. I know what your mind is like. But as you say, Geoff, it's one of those things that it's an individual thing and everything. Some of the things I do, I mean, I've been told by people that you can't do that, especially with telepathy, until I went to, 3 people from the big station, SOC, and they tested me. They all came up with the same story. Yes, you can. My God. No, it's not a mess, sweetheart, believe me.
Yeah. I think, I think it's, everybody is different, and there are some people that just aren't cut out for healing work, and that's fine. They have to want to do it, and have to want to do it for the right reasons. And that's where I think we have to be a little bit careful. And I wouldn't just train anybody off the street who walked up to me and said, "I want to learn Reiki, teach me." I'd sort of get to know them, I talk to them, and I find out what their thoughts are like, and I just make sure that everything feels comfortable, and then we go ahead and do it.
That's it. It's got to be, the empathy has got to be there, isn't it, Geoff? And that's what I find. Because if they're not empathic, then you know full well that they're going to be too pushy or hurtful, and that's the thing that always gets me. It's the hurtful side of things.
And the other thing is, if you're going to charge somebody $120 for a class or whatever, you want to make sure that they're actually getting value for the money, that they're actually going to be able to use what you give them.
Yeah, that's it.
If you really think that they're just, they just want the certificate on the wall, go for your life, but it worries me a little bit,
Well, it's got to, because as I say, my biggest thing is the empathic side of it. I've known some real, for want of better words, and excuse me, ladies, they're real hard bastards who think they can do it. Oh yeah, I can do that. Bloody hell. And I think it's no way. All the time you've got to hold up your bum, mate. Will you get me to teach you?
Yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it?
Yeah. You've got to be careful.
For me, Geoff, I'd queue in off the street here.
You've disappeared, Geoff.
It's a line I draw. I think everybody has to have a sense for themselves. Because you don't want to be doing things that you're uncomfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
It's not judgment. It's just making sure that you.
Yeah, that's very true. You've got to. Well, I hate to be judgmental, I'll be honest, but some people you just look at and think, no, bloody way, I'm not doing this. That's silly. Huh. That's how it's got to go, I'm afraid.
Yep, that's for sure.
You can hear my kettle boiling now, so Colin's just making a cover. Thank you very much, Raven. It's really nice of you. No, it's...
I'll send her a check. She'll be okay.
Oh, that'll fix her up. No worries at all. I'm sure she needs that. She can have a tree chop down then. No, it's not. Anyway, I'm going to close it down, Geoff. I'll stop the recording anyway, so... Thank you very much for being here, everybody, and do appreciate it. And hang on while I just click that little button.